Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you may be in this wonderful world. So we are coming to the end of 2022 and I think we'd all agree it's kind of been a bit crap for the last 2 or 3 years, hasn't it? Just as you come out the pandemic, the economy collapses. Hey ho. And I confess I have been very guilty of focusing on the negative stuff that's been going on, like how are we going to keep the business afloat? How are we going to get enough money coming in, whilst completely ignoring all the wonderful things that have happened over the course of the last year. And it is all down to you guys who have facilitated that. Thank you, every last one of you, for buying my courses, coming on workshops, leaving wonderful reviews on Trustpilot, etc. I want to say a big, enormous thank you to Emmeline, my fantastic PA. Without you, Em, I would not be able to do this stuff. I would be lost. You are a rock and one of my very best friends ever. Another person I need to personally shout out to is my buddy Paul Tansey. Mate, you put in so much work in the background to keep my business afloat over the last 12 months. And you haven't earned a bean out of it. You are one of the world's good guys. Thank you both, and thank you all of you. In the making of this video, it kind of woke me up a bit. I thought I'm going to share sort of like 2022 in pictures with you. Just sort of look at, well, what have I been up to over the last year? And it's that realization that made me notice just how negative I have been at times, and I apologise for that. So let's have a look. What is it you guys have facilitated? This is 2022. It kicked off, of course, in February with the Exposure International Photography Festival, and I recommend anybody who is interested in photography, you should go. It is the most inspiring thing on planet Earth, and I'm privileged to have got to become friends in many cases with some of the most amazing photographers in the world. Just picked up my third exposure award actually on this occasion, and I'm with Stephen Wilkes and Chris Rainier, both amazing photographers. National Geographic, Stephen Wilkes with his famous Day to Night series he blends thousands of images together, and these are all shot manually too. He doesn't leave this on a timer doing time-lapse. He frames and takes each shot looking for decisive moments. If you look down here, look, there's a bride and groom. He has chosen these moments so that he can blend something interesting together. Chris Rainier, he did the opening speech at Exposure with his incredible mask exhibition where he's travelled the world taking incredible photographs of cultures who use masks within their beliefs and rituals. I got to hang out with Mr. Steve McCurry, having a laugh at breakfast. He's the author, of course, of the most famous National Geographic cover, possibly, arguably, of all time. Had the opportunity to go to the Poland-Ukraine border with a couple of truckloads of aids with some of my buddies. Here is my mate, Mr. Paul Tansey, down here. He facilitated and kicked the whole thing off with my mates John and Fred here. We took 2 truckloads of aid down to a sports centre acting as a refugee shelter for these poor souls who'd lost everything in the war. If you saw the video, and I'll pop a link in the top right for you to go and have a look, it just broke my heart seeing these people. Can you imagine sitting on that camp bed on the floor of a sports hall staring at the place where your legs used to be, with your home and your life in ruins and an uncertain future in a different country? It's important when we do this sort of photography, and this is the sort of photography I like most, documentary storytelling. We should never take the picture. I had nothing really to give these people apart from my hopes. So instead of, you don't take the picture and run away, you take the picture or make the picture and engage. And I just touched, shook hands, kissed the lady's hand, and we shared some tears together. This place just broke my heart, imagine it. Anyway, I'm not going to linger on that, but I will just say there is a lot of negativity in the UK, and I think there's a lot of confusion between refugee and illegal immigrant. Please, people, think on that for a moment. I know it's easy to go, well, these people are coming here illegally and being given everything, and why can't we look after our own homeless? And I totally agree. Our government are being a bunch of utter buffoons. But I think there's a difference between an illegal refugee an illegal immigrant and a refugee. Please bear that in mind. It was back in April to run one of the beginners workshops with this lovely group. There were many of these. It was a good day. I kind of like that shot. It's one of my favourite pictures from a Motherford workshop. We just got the light and the weather and it all came together. Light and weather, it's what makes or breaks pictures. Then it was back to Ukraine again because I wanted to document the story of this amazing guy, Janusz Gorski. He probably does more good in a single day than most of us do in a lifetime. Delivering aid, ensuring aid goes to the right place, rescuing people from the front line, delivering aid to frontline soldiers. He is risking his life on a daily basis, and I wanted to just spend a couple of days, 48 hours with him, and just a few of the images that I shot. He has 2 phones, he's on them continuously, problem solving. He took us to the refugee village here where people come through from Ukraine, which is right behind me at the moment I took this picture. Some poor soul obviously brought a pet with them which didn't make the crossing, and there's this cage in a dumpster. Heartbreaking stuff. This still makes me very upset, this picture. I felt like a vampire when I took it, but it wasn't all doom and gloom. I was in the wrong place at the wrong moment, but I noticed this girl coming down the path from Ukraine, which is just the other side of that gate, scanning the faces around her, looking worried and scared. Then she saw that guy and her face lit up and the way they embraced. So of course there's heartbreak, but there is also moments of light along the way. I wish I had caught that little journey when the moment when she spotted him. I was too late. Janusz, again, solving problems. 40-ton truck full of aid had arrived at the border, but it couldn't cross into Ukraine for various insurance reasons, etc. The whole lot had to be moved. Janusz had been around all the farmers trying to see if anyone had got a forklift we could use to shift this aid from one truck to another, and of course there wasn't. So the 2 trucks were backed back to back, a steel plate was placed between them, and the whole lot was shifted by hand. People sort of arrived from farms and nearby workshops to help. It was an extraordinary experience. Janusz pulling a wheelie lift thing with a pallet load of aid between these 2 trucks didn't take as long as you'd think. The Ukrainian people, so resilient. When we arrived there, I kind of imagined the streets would be deserted and there'd be soldiers and tanks, and of course it wasn't like that. There's people queuing outside of restaurants, and they told us that yes, at the beginning of the war it was like we're all hiding in our homes, and we kind of thought, well, hang on, okay, we've had a few rockets come into here, Lviv, but what's the point? We can hide for the rest of our lives, and they're back out on the streets, and of course you don't know, a rocket can arrive, and in which case you're gone like that. What chance have you got? But I just thought it was an extraordinary experience to be in a city, in a country that's at war, and to see scenes like this. My heart just totally goes to the Ukrainian people, and my respect. A little story that wasn't in either of the videos we did over there. Lviv is relatively safe, compared to a lot of Ukraine. So many people seeking refuge from other parts of Ukraine are there. So we were supposed to have left Lviv and gone back to the Polish border, but of course everything got held up because of the truck and other things. So we were trying to find somewhere to stay, and we ended up in this Soviet era industrial complex. It's cold, it's about 10:30 at night. We're still trying to find somewhere to stay, and we've been told, well, there's somebody setting up a refugee centre here, maybe they got a bed. So we go there. And I was fascinated. These are just phone snaps. I could have stayed there all night photographing it. It was an extraordinary place. This is Mike, an American ex-cop who was also doing good things out in Ukraine. You can meet him in the video, link in the top right of the screen. Stood there with an effigy of Putin. This is where we thought we may end up spending the night, on a hard concrete floor, because it wasn't a finished facility yet. But we moved on. Janusz thought, I think I know somewhere we might be able to go. We just crossed an army roadblock because there's a curfew in place. Janusz has a pass to allow him to be out after curfew, thankfully. But we'd just gone through when his van broke down. It just died irreparably by the side of the road. So what are we going to do? It's really cold. It's heading towards midnight. We've got nowhere to stay. And Paul and I still need to get back to Poland. What an adventure. We were rescued by this wonderful husband and wife couple who came out. They rescued us, they took us back to their home, they cooked us dinner, they gave us drinks, friendship, companionship. They made beds up for us in their home, and then in the morning the husband drove Paul and I 2.5 hours to the Polish border for us to get through, and his wife took Janusz on another mercy mission deeper into Ukraine, where he had to go and rescue an elderly lady and get her out of the country. She was in urgent need of medical assistance. She was going to be flown directly to Israel. She then took Janusz back to sort out the van. Oh, and so it goes on. What an amazing, amazing group of people. Love you guys to bits. Switzerland, Zurich, the weekend workshop, always great fun. A couple of my favourite pictures from that workshop. It was a bit of a gloomy day, but hey, it doesn't stop you getting some great photos. Photo biker workshop in the New Forest, a motorcycle tour for motorcyclists who love photography. We go to some cool places. I teach people about photography, and obviously with an angle on photographing yourself and your mates looking cool, riding bikes, and just generally having a great time. Photo biker workshops are awesome. Chris Lippett, I need to big thank you shout out to you, my friend, for all your support at Bikerheads. And of course we take some lovely pictures along the way, but what could be better than riding a motorcycle to some great place, hanging out, having the crack, having a laugh, and shooting some pictures, learning along the way. I was lucky enough to go across to France to explore for another photo biker motorcycle tour photography thing extravaganza in northwest France, here at the Mont Saint-Michel, finding the right angle to shoot from. Took a long time to find this field, but I think it's a really great angle. This shot was not in the video from that trip. Which do you prefer, have interest? This one with the zigzags or this one through the grass? Please pop it in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts. A great day out in Cheddar Gorge with Gemma and Beige journalists, Charlie from Morton's motorcycle, oh crumbs, I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to put it on screen, the name of the magazine, which are doing a feature about my photo biker workshops, and of course the lovely Chris from Bikerheads, who sponsor me with this amazing gear. And of course we're all very adult. Wonderful day with grown-ups. Such fun, such fun. It has been a blast. Edinburgh workshop. It's just one of my pictures, one of my favourite pictures from the Edinburgh workshop. Top of Calton Hill, you've got this incredible structure and people are always climbing on it, and just by standing back at a distance with a long lens you can get some really excellent pictures. It was a bit gloomy, but we still got some great shots. Edinburgh Castle from the Grass Market. And of course the closes, the steps, the streets, always great little pools of light for street photography. Look how the light is hitting this girl's face. I just kind of loved it. Even laid on my back in the cathedral because I was so intrigued by the light and the shapes in the ceiling. The Adventure Bike Festival show, can't remember what it's called. They're again with Bikerheads on their stand promoting photo biker workshops. There's a great video about that day there as well. I recommend you go to these events, even if you're not a motorcyclist. Go to traction engine rallies and vintage tractor rallies and anything you like, because there's always things to photograph. It was great again to hang out with these guys who supply the best motorcycle gear in the world to all the dealers in the UK, Chris, and to shoot some really cool pictures. I really enjoyed photographing the Adventure Bike Rider Festival and the silly things people get up to when they're there. We had the opportunity to ride to some great places in the UK making photo biker videos. Corfe Castle, this was trip 1, and it's okay, but I still haven't quite got it. Trip 2, we had a much better sky, but I haven't got it. I need to go back. I haven't nailed this one yet. Just as I didn't manage to nail woodland photography when we made a video with Gary Goff down at Wistman's Wood on Dartmoor. Here we are corpsing terribly whilst he's trying to film. I love hanging out with Mr. Goff. He is an amazing photographer and a great YouTuber. Check out his YouTube channel, please. And if you're watching, Gary, Have a cool Yule and a happy new year. I look forward to doing more with you, my friend. This sort of thing isn't really my bag. I'm more the documentary guy. But I want to do more of this because we can always learn more, and it's always good for us to flex our muscles. Nonetheless, I do like a landscape, particularly when you've got some weather. Again, this is just a different angle above Wistman's Wood, and a little stone wall out on Dartmoor on the walk back to the car. There was the Clicker Snap Halloween photo shoot, playing about with smoke bombs in the woods on a sunny afternoon, so the light is coming through the smoke. Some of the guys at Clicker Snap, CEO Tom in the middle, this was probably my favourite, where we sort of had the smoke coming up through the trees, the light coming through it, muted colours and just making it all look a little bit sinister. A little moment, the pumpkin head that I can't remember her name, Sarah's little daughter was holding. You know, it just happened to be on the ground. Photography is about observation. And this little pool of light moving through the trees just happened to hit it, and I just noticed it. There's nothing fancy here, just noticed the light waking that pumpkin head up. The Lanzarote workshop, which I have only recently been back from, it was only a month ago. It always delivers. This is probably our first location on day one of pretty much every workshop. I'm always hoping to get a nice red sky before the sun comes over the horizon, so I can capture this angle or a similar one with the street lights on, because it just looks a lot more interesting. Haven't managed it yet, need to go back again. Again, up the side of a volcano looking at the sunrise across these aloes. Lanzarote is a great place, Las Nevas. We were exploring the caves before going out to photograph sunset from the top of the cliffs looking down across Famara Beach. There's this hole, a gap in the rock wall where the light comes through, and one of my favourite pictures, I love this picture of Monique, just stood in that little pool of light. Light is everything. Watch out for the light. We had great light. Again, same place, outside the caves. Yeah, the sunset's going on to the left, but of course, as usual, I'm fascinated by what people are doing in this beautiful light. I was amazed by this young couple. I don't know, they were just sort of so engaged with one another, and I took a lot of pictures of them actually. They were completely cool with it. They knew I was photographing them. They just ignored me, and I got their email address and have sent them a bunch. And I know some of you lovely guys who was on that workshop with me, I know you've got some too, and I look forward to seeing them a bit later in our shared folder. Maybe you put them there. I'll go and check. Again, Lanzarote, Famara Beach. Absolutely amazing place. It delivered this wonderful sunrise on our last day, followed by weather, rainstorms and more. Then it was from one warm beach to a really cold one. Who on earth got off a boat on this beach with the hail coming in the sideways and the ice all over the sand and thought, this is nice, I could live here? Nonetheless, Iceland is always very impressive. Our guys there photographing on the ice beach. Look around for things, you know, little photography tip, keep your eyes open. It's not about the gear, it is more about the idea and being aware, noticing that there is a piece of ice with a little hole in it. How can I use that piece of ice to make an interesting picture? I just love these tourists doing this sort of Instagram thing, you know, they're being photographed on a phone, doing this thing where they're pretending to hold up the iceberg, I guess. Human behaviour, it fascinates me. Always a pleasure working with my buddy Thor here. Here, seen helping one of the guys who was on the workshop get the very best out of the sea stacks at Vik at sunset. Yeah, rainbow time. Yeah, Iceland is great. Another rainbow, the little church at Vik. The guys at sunrise waiting for it to come over the horizon. I don't know what it is. I like photographing our participants. This is what they were looking at. They were facing this rock at Durley when I took the picture of them. Again, some of the guys on the workshop. These guys were taking that picture. It's a nice picture, but I just like the one of the guys taking it. Little turf roof church with the frost on the graves and these scraggly trees. For Iceland, these are quite big trees, because there's a joke. If you get lost in an Icelandic forest, how do you find your way out? You stand up. A final picture there in Iceland at one of the glaciers. One of our guys who'd gone off to get a different angle I love that sort of stuff. So once again, thank you. That is 2022, some of my favourite pictures. There were so many more which I wanted to share, but I don't want to go on for too long. Once again, thank you to every single one of you who has helped facilitate this incredible adventure in 2022 for me. It has been a really wonderful thing. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. If you do Christmas, be nice to each other, enjoy the festivities. If you don't do Christmas, kind of like me, I mean, look, there's not a bauble in the place, then just enjoy all the decorations, all the sparkly that is hanging around, great photo opportunities there, and just have a fantastic time. Be kind to yourselves, people, be well, be happy, and I really look forward to seeing you in 2023. Thank you again.